a couple of mock drafts have now been released for the Detroit Lions. And the recent mock drafts that have been released have really targeted edge, which it makes sense, right? You look at the position, the Lions still have not made the blockbuster move for a player opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. They've tried to find answers. They're looking towards Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal as being answers. And then probably that most people assume that there's a potential at number 28, maybe if they decide to move up or they move down early in the second round, there's players that the Lions could target. But dueling mock drafts from some draft analysts that are well respected in ESPN's Mel Kiper and the NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah, who's definitely, a former scout and personnel member that definitely is well respected and knows the prospects inside and out. So we start with Mel Kiper. He believes that Tennessee edge James Pearce, an individual that a little bit of, not controversial, I would say, but a player that people talk about, that have looked at him and said, okay, there's maybe some things that in his personality or what kind of locker room guy could he be based on his production, what he can do for a football team. But definitely you saw the production. You saw a player that can get to the quarterback, a player that for Tennessee made some impact. And you saw, okay, you could see why the Lions would be intrigued with what skill set he brings to the table. Now, the size factor could be something there based on, the Lions' need of the importance of setting the edge, the consistency against the run. Those are always question marks that you're going to have with any young prospect is, can they take that jump from the collegiate level of play versus the NFL, where the level of play, tackles in the league have just shot up in terms of productivity, size, speed, their willingness to learn, grow. It's an amazing battle, defensive ends against tackles in this league, and also guards. You got to be able to win battles and grow and develop. And then the other side, Daniel Jeremiah projected in a lot of early ones as well. We did at Lions on SI project Mykel Williams in a couple of early in our early mock drafts, a player that when you turn on the tape in the SEC and you see a player making plays, you saw Mykel Williams, and just another lineage, another player that projects to be successful from Georgia. It's the defensive line factory. Just pluck and play, and I think he'd be successful. So either or, I think, are intriguing. But if you had the choice, if, both are available, James Pearce or Mykel Williams, who do you think fits better based on your projections and what you've seen? Who do you want the Lions to pick if it's between those two?
I think that there's a very solid argument for both players. And I think starting with James Pearce, he's so explosive. I mean, his first 3 steps off the ball are awesome. I think if you're looking for high volume pass rusher, who maybe doesn't have a stout ability against the run, but would be serviceable, then I think that's your guy. I think James Pearce is your guy. But the reason I'm going to go with Mykel Williams is this. Number one, I think that he has the better chance of the 2 players of getting to the 28th overall selection. And number 2, I think that while he may not bring that same level of elite explosiveness and pass rush juice, I think he is the perfect complement for Aiden Hutchinson because of his ability to defend against the run. And then he can go out and get you between 8 to 12 sacks a year, in my opinion, at the NFL level. Maybe that's not as a rookie, but I think that's kind of his ceiling, is to be that double-digit type of sack guy who can also be a very steady edge defender against the run. And the Lions, yes, they would benefit greatly from adding another guy who could get you 15 sacks a year. I think anybody in the league would benefit from that. But I think the reason that Williams is the better fit is because of how well he defends against the run. He is as steady as they come. He gets off blocks, and he can be productive as a pass rusher to the point where you could have a very solid tandem between him and Aiden Hutchinson, especially when teams decide, hey, we don't want to run at Hutchinson anymore, and now they're going at Mykel Williams, and Mykel Williams is making the play. So of the 2, I think they're both really good players. James Pearce, one of my favorite players in the draft, just because of his explosiveness, his tenacity. But I think overall, Williams is the better option because he has a better chance of getting to Detroit in terms of draft, where he slides down the draft, and then his ability to defend against the run in addition to everything he brings as a pass rusher.